The following video is brought to you by the guys at the Wrecking and Racing Podcast, a NASCAR podcast made by the fans for the fans. Check them out at www.wreckingandracing.com, facebook.com/wreckingandracing, and Twitter at Wrecking and Racing. Hello again, ladies and gentlemen, Saka here, and welcome back to another episode of NASCAR Racing 2003 Season the 2019 mod. And we are here at Charlotte once again, but for the Coke 600, Kevin Harvick on the pole, Denny Hamlin to his outside, so picking up right where they left off last week. Myself and Brandon are here in row 2 and row 3. I'm on the inside, and Brandon's there on the outside in his wreckingandracing.com podcast Toyota. And coming down for the start, pit stops, there will be one, and we're probably going to head to about halfway, which will be lap 20 of 40. Waiting for the green flag to come out. Kyle Busch right behind us, and green flag is in the air. Let's see if we can get a launch and into turn 1. Clint Bowyer on the outside of Kyle there. Brandon looks to the inside. We will open that spot up for him, and through the first turn we go, getting up to speed, and let's see if we can get that good drive off of turn 2 and down the back straightaway. Denny Hamlin chokes up. Yellow flag is out already to kick off the race. I don't know what happened, but let's come back to the line. Looks like if we hold our position, we'll be in 4th. Brandon looking to the inside of Brad, trying to get into 2nd. And Kevin Harvick will take the caution, and we will get caught back up to the pace car and get back for the restart. It is way too early to pit, so I don't think anyone is going to be on pit road here. So you can see all the skid marks in turns 1 and 2, and it's going to be an interesting restart for sure. So I will be right back. Coming back to the restart, pace car about to duck off. Kevin Harvick leads Brad Keselowski, Brandon, and myself, and we'll see what we can do here on the restart. Let's see if we can run a little bit more than one lap this time. Green flag is in the air. Here we go. Good start for us. We'll short shift just a little bit so we don't run into Brandon there. We want to maintain sort of a line. Brandon out-qualified us by a spot, so ideally if pit stops were to happen, Brandon will want to be on pit road first. That way he doesn't have to drive around to Stenhouse. Looking to the inside, being pushed by Clint Bowyer side by side. Turn 3 is really loose. We'll have to be careful on this outside so the car doesn't get out from under us. We may be able to get that drive off. Stenhouse takes that spot still on the outside of Bowyer. And it looks like this lead pack is starting to thin out just a bit, with Harvick and Keselowski leaving us here. Single file. Brandon gets to the outside of Stenhouse as well. Bowyer and Blaney and Bowman, the inside row of the Bs, all down there to the inside, will get the drive off of turn 2 and get back single file. So we're running in 5th now, Brandon in 4th, and we should be able to pick Stenhouse back off now that he is alone. I believe we're a little bit faster, but Bowyer is not letting us go, and neither is Blaney. Blaney looking to the inside of Bowyer. That will help us out as they go into the turn side by side. Bowyer will roll out, and Blaney will roll out as well, so we'll gap them just a bit. And looking in the mirror, it looks like no one really is behind Bowman. So we are definitely picking him up and laying him down. Pass for the lead attempted. Brad Keselowski under Kevin Harvick. Let's see if Brad can get under Kevin here. It doesn't look like he can complete the pass. Kevin should have that drive on the outside, but the leaders side by side is a very good thing for us. We want them to slow down and slow each other down as much as possible while Stenhouse, Brandon, and myself catch up. Looks like Blaney has broken away from the pack behind him. They're all side by side back there, 2, possibly even 3 wide back there. So This is a track where you need to be running single file for your fastest lap for sure. You need to use all the racetrack down to the bottom, out to the wall, and if there's a person beside you, you definitely can't get to the gas as soon as you would like. Harvick with the crossover now. You can see Stenhouse is right there in touch. I don't know if Stenhouse is bold enough to make it 3 wide. He sticks his nose in there. That looks like this is going to end up very badly for all 3 of those guys if this continues the way it is. You can see that drive that we get off the corner, and we are right back in contention. Throw a blanket under the first 6 cars, really. This almost feels like a plate race. We are like right here, bumper to bumper. Blaney to the inside. We'll give him that spot. He drove in really deep, and we'll get back in line here. We didn't lose that much ground because all these guys are still fighting hard. Brandon rolls out and lets Blaney go as well. Ryan Blaney's looking a little aggressive here in the mid part of the run. If Blaney can do something, open up a hole, we'll follow him through. Hamlin comes back to see if he can capitalize on these guys as well. We'll get to the inside of Brandon here going in turn 1. So Harvick to first and 3 wide just briefly. Hamlin sticks it in there, still 3 wide. Brandon rolls out from the top, and Hamlin still has a fender on our fender as well. So this is getting dicey and remaining dicey here for the lead. No one is really checking out. Brad Keselowski loses some spots though. Brad may try to cut back under Ryan Blaney. But still side by side, trying to pick a line, trying to block Hamlin. Hamlin right to our rear bumper, looks to the inside. If Blaney chokes up the bottom, we can get that drive. We slip up just a little bit on that high lane. We'll be able to drive right back around Denny Hamlin and maybe even possibly Ryan Blaney as well. Blaney looks up, no. I think we'll be able to carry this speed. If we can get a good run off of 3 and 4, we'll get to his outside, but those guys are really stuck down there on the bottom. We'll drop back in line. And things are sort of evening out here. On our way to pit stops, we want to pit right at the halfway mark or thereabouts, and I believe the AI will do the same thing. But Kevin Harvick out front, winless this year. So if Kevin can win, he can solidify himself into the playoffs at the end of the year. Same thing for Stenhouse, though. Stenhouse is running a little bit better than Harvick more consistently, which, what kind of a world do we live in when we can say that? But a win for Stenhouse wouldn't be as big a deal as Harvick. Brad already has a win, and so does Blaney, so Kevin Harvick has the most to gain here if he can put a whole race together, but there is still a lot of laps left here in these 60 miles. The longest race on the circuit by mileage for sure. Probably won't be the longest race by time, though. This race is looking more green. Now that everyone is starting to single file out, the chances of a caution are dropping each and every lap that they run single file. So, well, I say that, and Brad looks to the inside of Stenhouse. He tries to put his fender right there on that back corner, and if Brad gets into Ricky, Ricky will be gone. Shoot, Brad don't even have to put a bumper on Ricky, and Ricky will be gone. So it's only a matter of time before these guys start to really attack one another. We got a good run, but missed our entry. Losing that spot to Brandon. We'll get back in line here. I tried to really drive to the outside of Blaney and just made a mistake here. But no worries, we still have plenty of the race to go. We're not even halfway yet. Pit stops still have to go. I believe 4 tires are going to be the call here. We're going to need an entire tank of fuel. Brandon making the hard charge under Blaney and Stenhouse. So bad move for Stenhouse. And a really good one for Brad Keselowski and Brandon. I'm going to try to follow them through here on the bottom, right up to the door, and we should be able to complete that pass. Denny Hamlin also might be able to capitalize, but he's not quite there. So put us back to 4th. Brandon really pressuring that 2 of Brad Keselowski, and with them side by side behind us, we can open up the gap just a little bit, but Kevin Harvick still leads the way. Yeah, we'll have to be really mindful once pit stops start. That's a sort of an oxymoron there, but the stops will start here soon, and we want to give these guys a plenty of a wide berth on the bottom, because they really slow up and then charge later into the pit road. Their entry is very interesting indeed. But feeling pretty good about the gap to our back. We could be a little bit conservative on pit road and make sure we do not speed, slide the tires, get ourselves into a lot of trouble without being pressured from behind and getting run over. So that's always a concern on pit stops, depending on when these guys come in and how many. They could get into each other on pit road entry, so we need to be extremely careful here. That must have been a big crash on lap 1. With all those skid marks, several cars had to have been involved. Maybe one of the championship contenders with a bad qualifying spot, who knows? It happened behind us, but we will definitely look at that at the end of the race. Laps continue to tick by, and it looks like the field is starting to even out as far as lap times and speed are concerned. Everyone is running pretty much where they are. Brandon looking to the outside of the 2, trying to get that run. Brad is able to pick up the gas and shoot off the bottom there. But right in touch with these guys, going hard. Brandon to the outside, and these guys look to be pitting, possibly, yes, Harvick and Keselowski heading to pit road. So a nice clean entry for those guys. We'll be pitting next time by. And we'll be as close as we can to Brandon here. We've got a nice gap to our rear. Looks like Ryan Blaney stayed out as well. So we'll be coming to pit road this time. 4 tires and fuel is going to be the call. And that will set us up for the end of the race all the way to the end here. So here we come down pit road, or at least get geared up for it. Slowing up, it is 3,500 in second. Brandon stays out. An interesting choice here. But 3,500 in second gear. Stenhouse behind us. You can see all the cars on pit road getting 4 tires and going. We'll try to get into our pit stall nice and easy. Looks like we have a clean entry minus Landon Cassill. Move, Landon. All right, Landon Cassill moves. Kyle Busch on pit road. We have to go around him, and 4 tires and crap. Overshot just a bit, but 4 tires and fuel, boys. Here we go. Right sides are on, left sides are getting bolted on, and windshield tear off down and away. We beat Stenhouse off of pit road. He's right to our outside, but that's a little iffy going side by side on the apron. So we'll give Stenhouse that spot, see if we can stay right behind him and pass him on the track where it counts. The exit here of turn 2 is very loose on the bottom, but once we get up to speed, here we come. So there are the leaders. Harvick and Keselowski cycle back around past Stenhouse, and there is Blaney. So right now we're running in 5th place, and Brandon should be on pit road this time, and we should be catching him with a head of steam. So he'll have 1 lap fresher tires to take him to the end, and I've seen him going around the apron there, so we'll see where Brandon blends off of turn 2. We'll see if we can make the pass on Stenhouse with these brand new tires. Here comes Brandon blending off the bottom. Leaders go around, Blaney goes around, we go around 3 wide briefly, and there Brandon comes out in 6th place. So we cycled through, and not a whole lot has changed here, so no cautions to interrupt the pit cycle. There's an engine expired down there on the bottom. Trouble for somebody. Once we go around the apron, we'll be able to see who that is, and it's Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch with an expired engine down on the bottom. That is going to hurt him in the points for sure. He was just a stone's throw away from making the cutoff, but with that engine and, you know, only a few cars possibly out of this race, that is not going to be good for Kyle Busch. So Brad Keselowski leads the way. Right behind him, Kevin Harvick. Then we have Ryan Blaney, myself, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., and Brandon. And it looks like that's possibly Bowman there behind Brandon just a bit, but this is the single file run, and good fortunes for us here as Kevin Harvick goes to the inside of Keselowski, but Stenhouse goes to the inside of us. I think we should be able to pick up the throttle much better. There we go. We actually slow down Stenhouse enough for Brandon to get to his outside. So a move for Stenhouse might cost him 2 spots. They're side by side, wheel to wheel. And I think Brandon will carry that momentum on the high line nice and easy. And the bottom line chokes up here. We're catching Ryan Blaney. Let's see if we can get to the Now, we may be able to get to his outside, but there's still, 18, 17 laps left, so no need to really throw it in there and do anything drastic, especially since all 4 cars are under a blanket here. One slip up by any of these guys and we can make 2 or even all 3 spots. We just have to take care of our tires because Brandon has those tires 1 lap fresher behind us, so if he gets around us, it will be a little bit more difficult to get around him for sure. There goes Keselowski to the bottom of Harvick, and Blaney choked up on the bottom. Both lines stall out. This allows us to get a nice run to the back bumper of Blaney. We may be able to get to the inside in turn 1. We'll drive it in, force Blaney to the top. Blaney thought about coming down. That's going to stall out his momentum. Brandon right to our rear bumper, trying to make it 3 wide. We'll complete the pass on Blaney, and Brandon will hold station on the bottom. We'll sail it in. I don't want to be chopping his nose off here going into turn 3. The car is already loose enough as it is. We'll be able to carry that momentum to the outside, but he is still right there looking. Very close racing here. If he gets around, I'm going to have to get in line as quickly as I can because Blaney's right there. So Brandon completes the pass right off of turn 2. Give him a little touch going into turn 3. And see if we can reel these leaders back in. Stenhouse and Blaney side by side back there. That should stall them out just a bit. And the more they stall out, the more we can keep our eyes out of the mirror and in the windshield. Keselowski holding station there. He's not really catching Kevin, but if he's able to roll a corner well and get side by side, Brandon can definitely make a move, and we'll use that to our advantage as well. Yeah, laps are ticking by very quickly here. Looks like a very green finish here, and the cars are out of the mirror, so it is a 4-car race for the win as of now. Of course, that's subject to change if we get racing side by side or yellow comes out, everyone is back together, but I see lap traffic in between 3 and 4 now, so they will be a factor before the end of this race is out, and navigating traffic has cost me, I know from experience, it has cost me some wins. So it very well might cost Kevin Harvick this win if he can't catch that traffic well. Looking to the inside, Brandon takes a bit of a higher lane, and that looks to be the 33 of Jeffrey Earnhardt that we are catching up, the bright green Hulu car. Brandon looks to the outside of Keselowski. This may stall both of them out. Brad rolls out. Let's see if we can follow Brandon through on the high lane. Keep that momentum up. Brad will drive it into the corner hard, but if we can get a fender on his outside, like here, Brad may roll out of it. Nope, Brad stays in it. We can look to cross over just a bit. He got a really good run off of turn 2, though. We'll look to the inside, sort of dive bomb him just a skosh, complete that pass, and settle into third here. And Brandon is hunting the leader, and we are hunting that lap traffic. Brandon looking to the inside of Harvick. That should reel in Kevin Harvick to our front bumper. And Kevin gets back in line fairly quickly. So we were not able to capitalize on that pass, but Brandon to the lead, and he's got lap traffic to work through now. It really all depends on how well Kevin gets through the traffic and Brad on how this top 4 is going to shake up moving forward. Good run there off of turn 4. We'll get that big pull down the entire front straightaway. Let's see if we can get to his outside. Well, he's leaving us a spot to the inside. We'll take it. And then depending on where we catch the 33, we want to be in that lane opposite. Can't see where the 33 is now, but Brandon forcing him up top. We'll get to the inside of Harvick and see if we can force Harvick to roll out of it here. All right, so we caught the 33 in a very good spot. Brandon scrapes the wall just a bit. We'll be able to complete that pass on the 33, and it looks like Harvick will follow us through. I don't know if the 33 will choke up Harvick. No, but the 33 may choke up Keselowski. So the first 3 cars around Jeffrey Earnhardt without much trouble, and it looks like Brad is still fighting hard back there with the 33. Will the next lap car play a factor? The race is nearing its conclusion. The car is really starting to feel tight. It's not driving in as hard as it used to, and I can't get to the gas as early as I used to. The tire wear is incredible here on this long run. We've had no cautions this second stint to help us out, so it really comes down to who's been managing their tires better. And as long as we can stay within a car length of Brandon, we've got a shot at it. We'll have to see if he makes any mistakes or if we can find something here to be just a little bit faster. 1/10 a lap is not going to do it. And we'll start to get that aero-tight condition where we get right to the back bumper and not able to really maneuver their car past that point. As long as we were hunting Brandon down, we were good. But now it looks like he's just keeping us at bay, but no pressure from the rear. So it's all eyes in the windshield all the time. We'll have no spoilers in this event. It's just going to be us two. And laps are ticking down, and we're watching that lap car in front of us really grow. If only we could catch him, and, you know, if Brandon catches a bad line around the lap car or the lap car doesn't roll out, then we may be set up well here. I'm not giving up, that's for sure. Brandon goes a little bit wide, and so do we. Yeah, that tire wear is just atrocious. We try to go in there and capitalize. We get to the gas and nothing happens. White flag is in the air. 1 more lap to go. I don't believe we're going to catch this lap car, so it's just us driving in, getting on the brake, trying to use the trail brake, dragging it to keep the nose planted. We're going to have to make something happen in turn 3 here if we want a shot at it. Lap traffic will not be a factor. Let's go to the bottom. Brandon goes up to the top just a bit. I've got all the wheel into this thing I possibly can, try to drive off, and nothing for him. Brandon takes the race at Charlotte just by that much. And I don't, you know, if we had more laps to run, I don't think the result would have been any different. The car was pretty worn out at that point, but not a bad deal for us. P2. Brandon takes the victory. P3 goes to Kevin Harvick. P4, Brad Keselowski. P5 for Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Clint Boyer. P6, P7, Denny Hamlin. P8, Ryan Blaney. P9, Kurt Busch. And Chase Elliott rounds out your top 10. So let's take a look at the crash as it happened here. And we know Jeffrey Earnhardt was involved. And there it was. Wow, so Jeffrey Earnhardt was behind all of it and got crashed? I have no idea. Interesting stuff indeed. Where did Jeffrey Earnhardt get all of that damage? But let's take a look at the crash and see who was involved here. So there we were coming back to the yellow. Pace car was out. Oh, and the bad mojo for the Richard Childress Racing team right there. That's nuts. Austin Dillon and Ty Dillon and Daniel Hemrick. So Jimmy Johnson looking to the inside on the start. It looked like Jimmy had a big run. Looked to the inside of the 13, and the 13 was already in his brother. The 48 and the 13 get together. Jimmy gets away scot-free, kind of like the All-Star race last week where Jimmy was causing a pretty big issue and then just sort of laughed about it at the end. So there is Daniel Hemrick. Let's see how bad that was going into turn 2 here. There was the touch. Dillon and Hemrick just collapsed his nose right there. Ty Dillon around as well. And what in the world happened to Jeffrey Earnhardt? That's what I want to know. He was all kinds of jacked up here. There it was. Okay, so lap 19. So was this something that should have brought out a caution, I wonder? He's right there on the rear bumper of the 97. You see the 13 there with his jacked up rear deck lid. It could have been an issue where he was coming down to pit road and got caught. Well, there's Austin Dillon. He's had an exciting race this race, and here they come. Down pit road, I assume? Yes, indeed. So here comes the 33 behind the 97. This was during pit stops. Bam! Oh, wow. So a miscommunication in the 97 got Jeffrey Earnhardt jacked up, and not a good day for him either. But let's take a look at the standings. Brandon with his 6th win for the year. We're back there with 4. Eric, Brad, and Ryan are your other winners this year. Clint Boyer is your cutoff driver, but tied with Alex Bowman. Menard 8 points back, Logano 10 points back, and Kyle Busch back there 18 points back, fitting for his number. But next week is a whole new week with a whole new racetrack at the tricky triangle of Pocono. So I'll see you then. Like, share, and subscribe if you are so bold. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at Pocono. Take care.